Welcome back, everyone, to Horror with Nadia. And today I'm giving my review on A24's Heretic, written, directed by Scott Beck and Bryan, starring Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. Now, before we get into it, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and helping me hit 1,000 subs by the end of this year. Now, I will keep the first half of this review completely spoiler free. We'll get into spoilers. I'll make sure it's timestamped. So let's get into Heretic.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am. Are you interested in learning about our Savior, Jesus Christ? Hi. Good afternoon. Hi, are you
Belief or disbelief. This movie is deeply focused on our relationship with faith, religion, and what really controls us. The premise follows two young missionaries, Sister Barnes, played by Sophia Thatcher, and Sister Paxton, played by Chloe East, where they're spending the day going door to door, and they end up on Mr. Reed's door at his request, who's played by Hugh Grant. And once they are let in the house, the biblical mind-bending questions ensue. To keep this as spoiler free as possible, this movie is one that scared me for this year. The concept of putting yourself up against your own faith, what might come next in the afterlife? Is death the end all be all? Or is there something more? What is religion? What is the right religion? What kind of faith do you have? This is a question that is asked throughout the movie. And I'll tell you, religious horror, especially like this, is my Achilles heel. And while there are a couple of jump scares, the movie doesn't rely heavily on that, which I absolutely love. Heretic allows the audience to expand on their own imagination and questioning their own thoughts on what faith is in oneself and what you believe would lead to. It is a slow burn. It is a very slow burn, but each scene is filled with an unsettling atmosphere. Hugh Grant's performance as almost a nihilistic psycho intellect is top notch, and that puts the girls in a situation of questioning their own belief. The trailer for this movie by far does not give away anything, so go in knowing what you might believe you see in the trailer is not how it plays out on screen.
this present?
My wife is home. Does that count?
Great.
You like pie?
Yeah.
My wife has pie in the oven.
I could tell that you are a very spiritually curious person.
I think it is good
to be religious, to find your faith in it.
Now let's talk spoilers. It's really hard not to talk about this movie without spoilers. So moving forward, this is going to be all spoilers. So just note that. This movie throughout has you questioning your own belief of each character. When the sisters are welcomed by Mr. Reed at first, his home is inviting. There's a sign that says, "Bless the mess." He says he has a wife making pie, putting them at ease to the girls. However, there's one telling sign, because when he first invites them in, he asks, "Are you okay with metal in the doors and walls?" That's a weird question to ask, but the sisters, especially Paxton, is so focused on and distracted on converting individuals that they overlook this huge red flag. It is not until the conversation of faith, especially why their church removed poly lifestyle of having men marry multiple wives, as Mormons have the history of it, that both girls start to feel very uneasy.
Silence angel.
The pie is a lie, and with no wife, the girls find themselves locked in and having to trail further into the house. With no ability to call for help, they are challenged by Reed on their own faith, explaining how, in his many years of studying religion, that each religion, in a sense, is a copy of the former, using examples as Monopoly was based off a game called The Landlord's Game, or the fact that Radiohead's Creep is based off The Air That I Breathe by the Hollies, coming into the conclusion that religion is just an iteration from one. They are giving the choice. Do they go through the door of belief or disbelief? And with even though Sister Paxton weighing on her belief, in the end they go down the door of belief, which leads them to what I would call a murder basement. It is here that they are challenged by an experiment of a prophet, which turns out to be a captured woman that Reed had forced to eat a pie with poison, showing the girls that she'll come back to life, which leads to the twist of the movie. It's later shown that the whole time Reed was treating this as an experiment, controlling everything the girls saw and did. It wasn't until the prophet basically went off script, warning Sister Paxton that none of this was real. In this whole process, Reed kills Sister Barnes, thinking that maybe she's something else, due to the fact that she has a scar on her arm for her IUI. That I think it's an IUI or IUD. It is not until Sister Paxton starts to challenge Reed on his theories that she is able to escape. But does she really escape?
We just need to go home.
I won't keep you if you wish to leave. But I want you to choose which door to go through based on your faith.
This movie ends with Paxton laying there, deciding to pray as Reed is also dying from the stab wound that she inflicted on him, and stating that prayer doesn't really do anything, but it is something about it that helps the individual themselves at the end. As Reed is about to end Paxton's life, Barnes comes back to life out of nowhere and smashes him in the head, and it allows Paxton to then escape. She escapes into the snow, and a butterfly lands on her hand, which is reflective in a conversation they had earlier of her saying that when she goes, she would love to come back as a butterfly to land on the loved one's hand. Now, the question is at the ending, is Paxton alive? It is discussed that in this movie that when we do die, our minds play tricks on us in a sense, putting images in our head to help us ease into death in a way. So did Barnes really come back? Or is this Paxton's mind tricking on her that she did escape? Because when she does escape into the snow in that butterfly scene, it goes completely quiet, which is a great use of sound. Now, this is going to be questions about religion. What is the right religion? Is religion purposeful in life? Is faith? And I love this because these questions will leave with the audience that will trail on for days after. I'll give this movie, honestly, a solid 8 out of 10. Highly recommend you see it in theaters. Again, it's a slow burn, but it's worth it. And until next time, thank you as always for joining me. Stay spooky, y'all.